What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time in Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. This entire episode is dedicated to our full NFL mock draft. Basically, we have put ourselves in the driver's seat as the general manager, and whatever we say goes. So if you're a basketball fan, become a football fan, because this episode's going to be great. But before we get into that,
this is not supposed to be accurate, just to say that off the top. We did this last year. I know that that Zach Wilson did not go number 2, even though that was like clearly going to happen last year. I don't know how many picks we got right. It can't have been many.
We're doing what we would do.
We're doing what we personally would do.
This is something that has been highly requested for quite some time, but we can only do it once because it doesn't really change. What we do really is going to stay mostly the same versus what we hear from teams changes. So we could do multiple like small mocks of what we think will happen. But in terms of
this is the big official Stay Hot.
This is the big official Stay Hot mock
draft.
Where
and we only do this once before the draft. So before we get into that, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I don't know if anything great happened to y'all this weekend.
I went to Flagstaff to look for apartments.
Ooh.
I went to Flagstaff, Arizona to look for apartments next year. So that's what happened to me. Which was cool.
Spent all day outside because the weather's really good here now.
The weather is fantastic. That's a reason to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Ohio weather has been wonderful recently. The past 3 days now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all gorgeous. I've been very happy because of it. Usually this weather is depressing. Theo, you mentioned you're looking for apartments. Tell me why my mom calls me and she's like, yeah, when you move out, I assume you're going to buy like a condo or something. I'm like, how?
Well, you're a junior who's still in student housing.
Yeah. Well,
First of all,
I'm like,
the jump from that to condo though is like pretty big. That's like damn near a house.
No, that's what she was like. I mean, you're not going to buy a house because you're not going to want to take care of the lawn. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. I would.
That's the reason.
I would hire somebody to do it, but at that point, then my expenses get too big and like.
Just mow. Have you? Just mow the grass.
I would rather do anything else.
I mean, I don't like mowing the grass either, but like I'd rather put in some earbuds and just get it done and then pay someone to do it. Unless I would rather pay someone to do it. All right. Okay. All right. We got some fake men over here. All right. What happened to the real man? What has social media done to our men?
I have paid my dues as far as mowing the lawn goes. I have back in the day when I lived at a house that had a lawn, I put in the work. I put in the hours.
My mom tried to get me to put in the work, and then my dad hated how I did it.
That's mow the lawn wrong. Yeah, just go back and forth.
Yeah, no, he wanted done especially. Like you don't understand. He will be out there for like hours trying to get it perfect.
All right, okay. All right. I can see how that could be annoying. I don't love it either. I don't love mowing the lawn either. But I would want a place with a lawn. I think it would be worth.
I don't know
the maintenance to like have that space. I want to get a dog really bad.
Yeah.
I need a dog before you guys get a dog. And if I'm in Flagstaff next year, it's tough in Phoenix. It's a race.
Why is it a race to get a dog?
So it can be the Stay Hot mascot, Stay
Hot dog.
If you guys get a dog, you would steal my thunder.
Stay Hot dog.
And it can't be Matt's cat.
Because apparently my cat is just no good. But yeah, I don't think I'm getting a dog anytime soon. So you've got time.
Okay.
I mean, the only pet that I could envision me getting in the next like 4 years is probably a goldfish.
I've been thinking about a frog for a while.
Right? Just go catch one, man. Just go get.
There's a lot of lizards around
Stay Hot
where
frog.
I live, and I'm really thinking about it, man.
Just go get it, man.
But is a lizard like? I don't know if that would qualify for like mascot.
Stay Hot frog has a nice ring to it.
And a frog would?
Stay Hot frog.
A frog as well.
Stay frog. All right. Anyway, we got to get
There's a mock draft we got to build.
There's a mock draft. Last time this took forever, so we can't dawdle on this.
No, it's going to take forever. If we just did straight draft, it would take over an hour on its own, even with no banter at all. All right, Theo, you're on the clock. Jacksonville Jaguars. We should have a timer for these picks.
Oh, I don't think we need a timer. I'm just saying, like, the way that this is working is that Theo's going to pick, Blaiden's going to pick, I'm going to pick.
Oh, yeah, we didn't go over the draft order at all. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we each take turns, and then it's our own personal decision to do whatever with that.
Me, Blade, and Matt. Me, Blade, and Matt. Me, Blade, and Matt. It actually works out. I picked for the Jets twice, the Saints twice, and the Packers
so
twice.
The way we did this was that Theo would get the Packers and Matt would get the Panthers. The Browns don't have a first-round pick, which is the first time that's happened, and I can't even remember how long.
Do you remember who you picked for them last year?
I don't remember. For the Browns last year?
Yeah.
I think I picked JOK.
I think you did too.
And that worked out pretty well.
That worked out.
They got him in the second round.
They got him in the second round. Anyway, I don't remember who I picked for the Packers. Probably someone awesome, though. All right. I'm on the clock with the Jaguars. And this is a tough year to have the number one overall pick, I think. It's going to be one of the... I would anticipate this is the worst number one we've seen in a while, I would guess. I mean, you look at what we had last year. I mean, last year's draft class is going to go down as, I think, one of the best of all time. Chase, Waddle, Smith, Pitts, the tackle, Sewell, Slater. Who am I missing? I'm even missing a bunch of guys. There were a bunch of Pro Bowlers that have had Chase. Yeah, I already said Chase. But like last year's class at the top, Surtain, Horn looked good. Parsons. Yeah. So crazy class last year. And then this year, like, I don't know if Aiden Hutchinson goes top 10 last year. I'm dead serious when I say that. Like, I don't know if Aiden Hutchinson goes in the top 10 last year with all the guys who
I know what I think I know what I would do here. I
know what I would do here.
I am going with Kayvon Thibodeau at number one. That is my pick. I remember reading Bill Walsh's book and him saying, like, you can't win a Super Bowl without two good pass rushers on either side. That is an incredibly valuable thing to have, is when you can stress the quarterback quickly from like both sides. And you got Josh Allen on one side, you got Kayvon on the other. I like it. I have Kayvon just by a little bit as my edge one. Again, I think they're in a similar place right now when it comes to pressure rates and when it comes to actually affecting the quarterback. Plus, I think Kayvon's got a little bit of a higher ceiling, whereas I think Hutchinson's a little bit, maxed out. So as far as getting the lump of clay for the coaching staff to mold, like, again, you've got Kayvon what he is right now, almost as good as what Hutchinson is right now, if you look at basically any metric, plus that extra room to grow. I'm taking him, I'm pairing him with Josh Allen, and I'm trying to get that pass rush up a notch. I think that's what I would do. That's what I would do if I was the Jaguars here, I think.
Well, that's not a bad pick. It's probably what I would. Convincing. Yeah. It's probably what I would have done with the first pick. But
what would you have done?
Yeah, what did you say when you said I think I know what I would do? Were you also thinking Thibodeau?
I was leaning Thibodeau, but I'm also leaning the player that I'm going to take second overall to the Detroit Lions. And no, it's not Aiden Hutchinson. No, it's not Malik Willis. It's Kyle Hamilton, who is in most people in the circle that I talk in, he's most people's like number one prospect, which he still should be. His official 40 time is a 4.59, not a 4.7, which is still like not blazing fast, but he has some of the best reaction time I've ever seen. His IQ on the football field as a defensive player is some of the best I've ever seen. He's just such a force at all levels that I think it's and the Lions had one of the worst safety groups. I mean, people talk about how bad their corners were, and their corners were hurt. But like, if you give them some help over top with a guy like Hamilton that can just totally blanket the field, I mean, that totally changes your defense.
Yeah, he's still my number one prospect, even if I'm not like quite as convinced he's as perfect as maybe I once thought he was after these 40 times of going back and looking at it. Yeah, like as maybe a single high safety, like even that pick where he had all that range against FSU, like it was realizing like what is about to happen that kind of spurred that more than maybe just blazing speed. And I sort of see that now, but I still think his game speed is pretty high. I saw a tweet somewhere that like his GPS tracking was like got up to 21 miles an hour at some point or something like that. I think that was like on recruiting analytics, which I don't totally know where they get all their information, but I'm just saying I saw that. And yeah, I think like the way that he fits the run and the way he reacts to everything, I don't think this would be a horrible pick for the Lions at 2. I really don't. And I even considered it at 1, but there is a little bit where it's like, okay, well, maybe he is a little bit more of a box safety, but I don't.
But even if he
is,
the Lions just need good players, and he's a damn good player.
Yeah, he is a really good player. So, Matt, you're up.
I'm debating between we're in dangerous Aiden Hutchinson falling too far territory, but my heart tells me that Charles Cross is not a bad pick here. I'll go Cross. I'm going Charles Cross. Ooh. I think that the Texans have so many needs, and he's my tackle 1. I just feel really confident about him with his pass protection, and that's the type of safer prospect. And I agree, maybe Hutchinson just is like a little bit more valuable of position if you've got, an edge who could go number 1 overall and he falls to you at 3, or maybe Neal has higher potential, but I think Cross is still valuable enough, and I feel very safe about him.
I feel very good about like any of the tackles, really. Like
right, Cross, I feel pretty good about all 3 of them.
And this is the conversation we had with Seth, right? Where it's like, does it really matter? Flavor.
It's like whatever kind of one. I think like Ekwonu's the best run blocker, Cross is the best pure pass blocker, right. And then Neal's a pretty solid mix of both. That's kind of where I lean.
Like you would say that the tackle prospects are probably better respectively as tackles than maybe Aiden Hutchinson is as an edge.
I think I would. I don't think it's a bad take. I don't think Cross over Hutchinson's a bad take. I'm about to take Hutchinson to the Jets though here at 4, but I don't think like going Cross over and then maybe kicking Titus Howard inside to guard, because that's what the Texans like GM is like saying they might do is like. Titus Howard says he likes tackle a little bit better, but the GM is saying we're going to play our best 5, and he played some guard last year.
And I also like that if you take Charles Cross, your offensive line is really close to being a huge strength, right? Like you would have some serious tackles. So I'm guessing that the Texans fans would probably go Hutchinson here, but I'm just high on Cross.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad take. I'm going to take Hutchinson to the Jets, though. I think Hutchinson's really solid. Again, good hand fighting. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a ton of bend around the edge, but he's got, I think, enough. He can go through someone with a variety, which is power. He can convert speed to power pretty well. He can beat him with technicality and using a variety of different pass rushing moves. The Jets, they've got Carl Lawson coming back, you would assume, and he's pretty good, but who are their other projected starters? It's like John Franklin Myers, Jacob Martin. So they could use another edge rusher on the other side of Carl Lawson. And again, once you've got Quinnen, Hutchinson, and Carl Lawson coming at you, that's also a pretty good pass rush. That could be a really dangerous unit. So I like Hutchinson to the Jets here. He falls a little bit farther. Yeah. I still think he's my pick at number 1, even with all the Trayvon Walker smoke. I kind of think that's them trying to get someone to trade up. But maybe I'm just reading too much into that. But I think Hutchinson's still the pick at number 1. If he falls to 4, the Jets, I think it would be a good pick for him.
The Jets have been perceived to have a really good front 7 over the past couple of years. Which it's been a good run defense, I think, but it makes it really easy to like overlook and be like, oh, we don't need to focus on that at all.
I don't know about that. I mean, their pass rush has not been super duper scary. I mean, I don't know,
but like the run defense. So like you're like
the run defense.
You're like, oh, the run defense is good. We don't need to work on our front 7 at all, right? I think that's an easy trap to fall into. I don't know.
Maybe, but
maybe it's
Hutchinson can defend the run really well as well. He's a really good run defender as well. He's super smart, high motor, but also speed to power is good. Power is good. Hand fighting is good. I do like Hutchinson, so he's the pick here.
I'm back on the clock, and this puts me in a tough position, I think, because
who are you on the clock with?
The New York Giants, right? Yeah. In every mock that I've done, Kayvon falls here. And I'm always like, oh, I just take Kayvon, right? That's the easy pick.
Not this time.
Not this time. And I think we agreed to not do trades because if Kayvon wasn't here, I think I would just trade out of the pick. But since we're not going to do trades, I think my pick is just Ekwonu. The Giants have, I think, really been wanting to run the ball, especially if there are rumors that they want to trade Kadarius Toney, who is probably their best, receiving threat in the open field. I don't know. They feel like they might want to lean run heavy a little bit more. And
Dable is not a run heavy guy, though.
That is the thing. That is the one thing. But I'm still taking Ekwonu. I know a lot of people like Neal, and if Neal falls out of the top 10, I think people are going to be a little bit upset. But what are you going to do?
Don't worry, I'll make sure that he won't.
Matt.
Well, Matt, I'm on the clock with the Panthers at 6.
And he doesn't have to take Kenny Pickett. This is beautiful.
And my heart is telling
you do it. You're going to do it.
If Matthew was running the Panthers, if I was running the team, they'd take Desmond Ridder at 6.
I didn't think you were going to say that. I thought you were going to say a different Cincinnati guy.
God. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that either.
You're losing Gilmore.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many options. I could go Neal too. It's tough because what I really would like the Panthers to do is at least make a serious attempt at quarterback, right? They can do anything else, but trading for another team's failed first round draft pick or failed quarterback is not something that serious winning teams do ever. It isn't. But it's just tough because I think Ridder is worth taking the pick on, but there's a couple problems. It's like if you think he is the guy, you're not trading down.
Yes, that is a mistake. That is a mistake that a lot of teams make. Is if you like the quarterback, you take the quarterback. I think fans get obsessed with, he may have been there at 20. Well, it's like he also may not be there at 20. And if you're comfortable taking him at 20, you should be taking him at 6. Like if you think he's a franchise guy, you think he's a franchise guy and you take him. So I think that's kind of what Daniel Jones was, where it's like the Giants liked him. Obviously, they shouldn't have liked him as much as they did, but they did. And they were like, fans were like, you could have traded back. But it's like, if you think he's the guy, you think he's the guy.
It just sticks you in such a bad position, too, because 6 for Ridder is not great. I believe in him, but it's still not great value, really. And I'm passing up on guys like Neal and Garrett Wilson and Gardner, who I think all would have spots in the team and be really good. So maybe the solution would be just go Neal or something.
And hope a quarterback is there at 2. We're not doing trade. I think the Panthers will trade out of this pick. I think they straight up will. It just makes too much sense.
I'll say that I would go Evan Neal. And if I could trade, I would find a way to work to Ridder. But at 6, it's just tough. It's tough. Right. So I'll go Neal.
So that is 3 offensive linemen in the first 6 picks.
I think that's what's going to happen too.
I agree.
I think that's what's going to happen.
It's not unreasonable. And if Thibodeau's not there, the Giants, I think would either trade out of that pick or take Ekwonu or Neal. I don't think that makes.
I think they'd be very happy with that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm with the Giants again at 7 here. I believe they're going to cut Bradbury. I was looking at the cap space. They've got $2 million above the cap. They're adding 2 top 10 picks. And just for the record, that's top 10 picks have signing bonuses of $15 million. Okay, so they need to clear some cap space still. That's going to be Bradbury. If you cut Bradbury, Adoree Jackson is your corner 1. I think that's not good. So I'm going to take my personal favorite corner in the draft. I have warmed up to Sauce Gardner. I really have. I think I am chasing him where I'm getting too caught up on little stupid things and not just looking at the production and being like, okay, so I have moved up Sauce throughout this process. I fell into the same trap with Chase last year. Sauce is my 10th overall prospect, but a little bit higher than that is still Derek Stingley. I think that his tape these past 2 years have actually, if you were to really look at it, you can still see a first round pick and someone who is potentially even adding to his technique and getting better. He has looked super smooth this year. His only catch that he gave up was in the slot to Kyle Phillips, who I think is a fantastic slot receiver, and he never plays in the slot. So he looked very hesitant there. And Kyle Phillips just kind of torched him there. But outside of that, bad rep. I mean, on the outside, he looked fluid. He looked smooth. And he was doing all that with a foot issue. He didn't allow a catch this season. His freshman year wasn't quite as like, oh my God, dominant as people think he was. Like, he got torched by Devontae Smith. He got torched, but it's tough to poke. It's tough. Everyone. He was like a freshman. He actually got torched by Devontae Smith twice, but he was a freshman.
Everyone got torched by Devontae Smith.
But it's tough to poke holes in his game. He's clearly smart. He moves just different. He's silky smooth, flipping his hips. He's a really good mover. He'll come downhill and tackle. He's maybe not the greatest tackler I've ever seen, but he's good at it. I think he's like comfortable coming downhill and hitting. The recovery speed is there, the mirroring, the patience, the hips, the ball skills. I like it all with him. I think that he's going to be a really good corner. Yes, the injuries are a concern, but I'm betting on the upside here for the Giants. And I'm taking Stingley at 7.
It's a great pick. I thought about taking him 5.
I mean, Stingley's a great play. I do have to push my Gardner propaganda.
No, and it's not a bad. It's not this, like, there are smart people that I respect who have Sauce at cornerback 1, and I don't think it's like this horrible take. Like you. There are others even. It's not just Cincinnati.
No, I mean, I think if it wasn't for the injury stuff, he probably would be a little bit more consensus cornerback 1. And I think the injury stuff's concerning, but
it is.
I cannot, as much as I want to, I can't blame anybody for having Stingley as cornerback 1.
Right.
Fair. All right. Well, I'm here at 8 with the Atlanta Falcons. And for those of you that haven't been following my live stream, I've been doing a Falcons rebuild on Madden. And in Madden, I ended up taking...
I know what you're about to say.
In Madden, I ended up taking Kyle Hamilton with this pick.
Oh, okay.
Because he fell this far.
I thought you were going to say Matt Corral.
Well, funny thing, I traded back into the first round to get Matt Corral.
Okay.
All right. Now, in this scenario, Kyle Hamilton isn't here. Right? So with the Falcons, I ended up going Kyle Hamilton, Matt Corral, and then in the second round, I took George Pickens.
Okay.
All right.
What are you doing here, though?
My heart tells me Matt Corral, man. It tells me Matt Corral, but I'm going to listen to my head a little bit, and I'm going to take Garrett Wilson. He should be the consensus wide receiver 1. They have Kyle Pitts, who's a great tight end, but man, that receiving group is like as thin as paper. It is awful. I'm
pretty sure Darby slander, ASU legend Frank Darby.
I'm pretty sure their number 1 receivers like Olamide Zaccheaus.
Yeah, it's Auden Tate, I think, or Zaccheaus. It's one of those two.
Come on, bro. They need a receiver so bad. It doesn't matter who their quarterback is going to be.
It's such a horrible roster, man. It's so bad. I'm like looking
they
at
have
it.
They have a lot of needs.
It's Richie Grant and Eric Harris at safety. They've got...
which is why I took Kyle Hamilton with...
there's like Lorenzo Carter and... I don't even know the other guy coming off the edge. Rashawn Evans is their other linebacker.
Mario to the Wolves, I'm afraid.
They've got Marlon Davidson, Anthony Rush, and in their front like defensive line. Their center's bad. They're still like have Jalen Mayfield as a projected starter. Yeah. Caleb McGarry is still a starting tackle. They have no wide receivers. They have no quarterback. They've got Cordero Patterson.
Marcus Mariota slander.
They need to trade back from this pick. That's my take on the Falcons. I think like in this draft that's not strong at the top. We're not doing trades, but I agree, Blaiden. I'm just saying, like, bro, the Falcons are on 0-17 watch. It's ridiculous.
Hey,
but you did a good pick. You made a good pick.
I scored 105 against the Saints in a playoff game.
Oh, never mind.
But
and then we lost to the Cowboys in the next round.
Frank Darby explosives are going to save them this year.
Yeah, they will, Brad.
Which is why I want Garrett Wilson. It's like, well, at least you have Garrett Wilson and Kyle Pitts. Maybe we'll get some highlight reels. Yeah. You know,
where does Darby land on the depth chart?
He wide receiver 1, man. I'm telling you. What I'm looking at is like Tate, Zaccheaus, probably Darby or Kadero Hard or Damare Burt. Kadero Hodge or Damare.
Is Kadero Hodge there?
Yeah, he's
Cleveland Browns legend Kadero Hodge.
Who? I don't know.
He played for the Browns.
Did he? All right.
Yeah.
Frank Darby played for the Sun Devils, which takes priority, sadly. He's my favorite player on that team.
It's my pickup.
It
next.
is.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I
know I'm taking someone from Cincinnati.
I know who the pick is.
The Seahawks here. This one, I think this is like way more realistic that they take Ridder here.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wrong.
This is this has turned into some serious Ridder propaganda from me. Saying he should be taken with 2 of my first 3 picks, but I think that's what they would do here. I think they would go Ridder.
What would you do?
Drew Lock. We've said this before. Drew Lock is probably not your game plan.
No, Drew Lock is an undisputed wide receiver. Or quarterback 1 is not how NFL teams are they're gonna add a quarterback. I convinced they're gonna add a quarterback, whether it be at pick 40 and 41, where they package those and trade back up, or they just take the guy here that they like the most. I think that's what's going to happen.
And they could go Willis here too. But I think if they really like a quarterback, if they really do, they will just take them at 9 probably and not think about it too much. Because like, where is Ridder going to get picked? Well, who knows if someone else. So if you might be trying to trade back up 5 picks later to go get him. And maybe you aren't so high on him that where it's like, well, if we miss out, okay, that's what happens, but we don't want to spend the 9 on him. I get that. But since we can't do any trades, I'll just take him here. I think that he is more pro ready, definitely, than people think. And with Pete Carroll sticking around, I mean, yeah, they need to, I think pro readiness is a big deal when your coach is definitely older.
Fair enough.
I don't think that they're trying to go through an entire rebuild, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're tanking, Yeah, I would agree. I think with Sauce here, he fits what they want to do so perfectly that it would be tough. But again, if you go through the season with Drew Lock, especially Pete Carroll, who's kind of on thin ice, I would say, like a bad Pete Carroll season could see him get fired, and you're probably going to have a bad season if you go through the entire thing with Drew Lock. So
you could also, I would maybe prefer like trading back up and getting like, I wouldn't be mad at like a Matt Corral, or maybe you're like, just give me one of the guys with a little bit higher upside or whatever, and we'll take Sauce here. But I'm sticking with Ridder here.
Ninth pick, Desmond Ridder.
I believe he's got the talent to be good enough, and I think he's got pro already.
All right, Theo. Round up.
I've got the
10.
Jets again. I'm going to take Sauce here. They've got actually not the worst cornerback room. DJ Reed really came on strong to end this year. Bryce Hall, I think I didn't watch the Jets defense all that much, but like if you look at corner, like advanced stats for corner, he ranks pretty highly in all of those. So Bryce Hall and DJ Reed are some nice pieces in that secondary, it seems, but definitely not someone that you trust to like put on the best wide receiver on the field and watch him disappear. Sauce at his height with his arms and with his physicality is that guy. And typically Saleh doesn't really prioritize drafting corners. Like the Saleh defense has not had a lot of like really high resource corners on them. They got Richard Sherman at one point, but he was at the back end of his career. I think Richard Sherman and Sauce are somewhat similar. Again, very, very physical guys. I think I heard, we had Sherman say that Sauce kind of reminded him of himself. So I think Saleh would value Sauce here, and I think at 10, it's a pretty good value. So that's my pick, and that rounds out the top 10.
Yes, which have been some pretty tough picks, as you can all see for us. But thanks to our good friends over at PrizePicks, you can have super easy picks as they make daily fantasy super easy. And, PrizePicks offers more NBA props than any other DFS operator, and they offer every single player in every stat category you can think of. You pick 2 to 5 players and an over-under on their projections. You can win up 10 times on any entry, and it's just you versus the projected numbers. And PrizePicks allows for mixed sport entries. For example, you could take the over on Jason Tatum combined with the under on, I'm running out of baseball players. Give me a baseball player.
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout. All right. But I think I've already said Mike Trout. And users that deposit and use our promo code
Juan
will
Soto.
receive
Christian Yelich.
You're naming guys that I don't know. See, I don't watch baseball.
Neither do I, and I still know who Soto is.
I've watched one baseball game on TV ever, and I've been to 2 baseball games ever.
So, I don't care. You still like are on Twitter
game a couple days ago.
Even if you like have never seen one before, or like just on Twitter, sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, have you heard of what like Ohtani did?"
You're telling me you never get anything baseball on your timeline ever at all?
Pretty much no, unless it's like Gab tweets something because she's like a Guardians fan.
I couldn't name anyone on the Guardians, but anyway, I digress.
She goes to Guardians games, so like I see that stuff, but that's it. But anyway, use our promo code, receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Just be sure to use the promo code STAYHOT. So don't hesitate. Check out PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code STAYHOT or go to your app store and download the app today, where PrizePicks makes daily fantasy easy. I am now on the clock with the Washington football team, or Commanders, Washington Commanders. I forgot they changed their name. And this is tough for me. So, Theo, you took Sauce at 10.
Yep.
And see, what I would have done at 10 is I would have taken a receiver. I would have taken Drake London or Trey London.
It's tough to pass up on those guys, but I think that it's a deep receiver class, and I think they can get someone in the second round, and they might trade for Debo. So we'll see.
That's also true.
Fair
enough.
We'll see. We'll see what happens at 10. That would definitely be tough for the Jets to not get a receiver there, but Garrett Wilson's my wide receiver 1, and he was.
Well, this makes things a little trickier for me now because I originally anticipated to not have Drake London available to me at 11, but now that he's here. I kind of just want to take him
for Washington.
For Washington, I'm like,
that's easy. I think
that's how I'm like. Listen, what do we always talk about with Carson Wentz? Right? What kind of receivers does he like?
Big bodies that can bail him out if he's being dumb.
Exactly. And what is Drake London?
A big body who can bail him out if he's being dumb. I would like this pick for sure.
I think McLaurin would be pretty cool. I think that would honestly fit what Carson Wentz would want.
Yeah, you got the deep threat to take the top off. McLaurin could do anything, but he's got the speed.
Yeah, exactly.
And then London more in the intermediate, short to intermediate areas.
There's no way Drake London's here, but now he's here, and I'm like, shit, that just makes too much sense. So yeah, 11th Washington, you're getting Drake London.
I like it.
Too good.
I like it.
All right, Matt.
The Vikings. Pick someone bad for me. Pick someone bad for me.
Anything for you, Theo.
Give me
Trevor Penning.
Trayvon Walker, maybe. Yeah, I might get Trayvon Walker. Yeah, I think that's good value here. I do think he's maybe getting a little bit overhyped, but at the same time, the run defense is there. And the upside is crazy.
Yes.
Picking here,
this is my mock before he started with all the top 1 hype. I mocked him to the Vikings all the time. Yeah.
And they need edge rusher, and his floor is really high. I think that's a solid pick. I think that's easy value, honestly.
Yeah, I would like it. I think that would be a solid pick for the Vikings.
I don't think he'll be there at 12.
I don't think so either.
No, there is no pretty great chance.
But yeah, Walker's an interesting one. Obviously, one of the greatest combines in the history of sports.
Right.
He is someone who doesn't quite have production, but yeah, the floor as a run defender is really good, and the athletic ceiling. Again, you look at Kayvon, who I picked number 1, although he actually had production. But again, you think that you can teach these kinds of traits guys what you need them to do, and especially with the Vikings who can kick them inside, put them opposite. That would be a really versatile front 4 with Walker, Za'Darius Smith, and Danielle Hunter. That could get really scary really fast on third downs or on any down. Really.
And the Vikings like to blitz Anthony Barr.
Yeah, they like doing a lot. Well, with Zimmer, they did. I don't know exactly what they're going to look like now, but you can kick Za'Darius inside. You can kick Trayvon Walker inside. There's definitely ways to get all those guys on the field at once, and then you're getting with Kendricks. You're getting a really scary front 7.
When I explain it to myself, Walker is a guy who both has a high floor and a really high ceiling.
Yeah.
And maybe people are overselling like how likely it is for him to progress, because it is really hard, right?
Yeah.
And you can't just assume that's going to happen. But it sounds like a pretty good prospect to me if it's a high floor, high ceiling.
Yeah.
At number 12, I think it's a really good pick. Yeah. At number 1, I'm like,
he doesn't quite have the like beat the guy. He doesn't really in pass rush doesn't really beat the guy in front of him as much as you would like to see for a number 1 overall pick. But yeah, high floor, high ceiling. He's not some scrub. A lot of people are like, oh, he's going to be a bust. He's still like a top 15, albeit pretty covering pretty damn near 15, but like a top 20, top 15 player on that board for sure.
All I will say, just to be a little bit negative about Trayvon Walker, is that against Arkansas, he did not win a pass rush attempt once.
Yeah. Georgia also had a master class of a defensive game against Arkansas, though. That was crazy what they did to Arkansas.
No, they did a marvelous job. But Trayvon Walker consistently lost in that game as a pass rusher. But in the run game, he was phenomenal, as you would expect him to be. Theo, you're on the clock with the Houston Texans.
I'm going to take another Georgia guy. I'm going to take Jordan Davis here. They've got, looking at the depth chart right now, man, they've got some nice players in their front 7. Who was it? Was it who was the one? Was it Blacklock who looked all right? Oh, I'm sorry, Texans fans. One of their defensive tackles is underrated, and I'm trying to remember which one it is. It's not Roy Lopez though, and he's someone that I see on this depth chart. They got Kingsley Keke, who is someone I actually thought it was a nice depth piece for the Packers, but definitely not someone you can rely on. I think that Jordan Davis is kind of a game-changing player. I look at him like a Vince Wilfork type, although Vince Wilfork played a ton of snaps in his career, and we're not totally sure if Jordan Davis can do the same thing, but I think there's reasons to believe.
When we talked to Dean
said everyone on Georgia can play as many snaps. They were just rotating guys because there were so many good ones.
But he said everyone's in like great shape. So.
Yeah, and you look at Jordan Davis, who again maybe had the best combine. Either Trayvon Walker or Jordan Davis had the best combine in the history of sports. But like Jordan Davis was just ridiculous. And if you're that athletic, I like to think that you can condition your body to play more than he did at Georgia. And then if that's what you're banking on and you think he can play more than he did at Georgia, well, you've got a guy who's huge, who's explosive, got a good first step, can't be moved. And he honestly, I think like when he's one-on-one, I think he can push people forward and collapse the pocket. And yes, he's not a great pass rusher, but like neither is Trayvon Walker, and he might go number 1 overall, like he's athletic enough where it's like, and his hands are active enough where I think honestly he has some potential in that area because his first step is good and because he's smart and because he's huge and because he's athletic. Like I think he's got more pass rush juice potential than people give him credit for. And again, if Trayvon Walker is going number 1, I don't understand why Jordan Davis isn't, a top 10 caliber player, So that's where I'm at with him. Davis. I think you could add him and he's kind of a run defense unto himself. The Texans run defense is horrible. So let's fix that. Let's fix that. Build through the trenches. You got Cross, you got Jordan Davis, and you got 2 firsts next year, and let's cook.
Well, after Matt didn't take Sauce to Seattle, I thought, maybe I'll get him for Baltimore. That's been who I
would have taken him for the Vikings if it had come to that too.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, this makes my Baltimore pick a little bit tough. They got Bateman last year. And my gut tells me they probably don't want to take another receiver.
I think it'd be kind of cool if it did.
It would be kind of cool, right? If they just had like a bajillion receivers for no reason.
For them to run the ball a million times.
Yeah. J.K. Dobbins is coming back. Lamar's going to be healthy. It was like, we're just going to run like 400 times.
It's Greg Roman, man. They're not giving anybody 100 targets.
They're not throwing the football. So this does make things a little bit tricky for me, though. I kind of lean Devin Lloyd here. I kind of lean Devin Lloyd or Devontae Wyatt. I feel like bolstering up that front 7, because I know Marlon Humphrey had kind of an off year last year. But he was also kind of banged up. And I would not bank on that cornerback room being as easily exploited as it was a year ago. And with Kyle Hamilton gone, there's not really a safety that I would love to take here. So my gut is to bolster up the front seven with either Wyatt or Lloyd. I'm just trying to figure out, like, on the fly which one I want.
They got Pierce back on the defensive tackle room, who's that's not really exactly the same thing that Wyatt does, though. Wyatt's more of a 3-tech and Pierce is more of a true nose. At linebacker, they've got Josh Bynes and Patrick Queen, which is obviously you're trying to bank on Queen playing a little bit better than he has. I thought Bynes was actually all right. So the linebackers,
the Ravens have always, I felt like when they had Ray Lewis, right? They like having like a centerpiece to that defense, and I don't know if they really have that right now.
Yes,
and a guy like Wyatt or Lloyd could fill that void. I'm leaning Lloyd right now.
Pick him then.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just going to pick him. My gut tells me Lloyd. I'm taking Lloyd.
Lloyd is interesting. Lloyd, I read an article by Bruce Feldman, and he's really plugged into college football, and he was interviewing coaches on what they think of like some of the prospects in this draft class. And to hear them talk
like
about
college coaches,
yeah, college coaches, okay. And to hear them talk, you would have thought Devin Lloyd was going number 1 overall. So I kind of think there's some teams. Yeah, no, they loved him, which is funny because I don't love him. But
why?
Why? I don't love him because I don't think he's quite as good of an athlete as people think that he is. I don't think like he's this game changer. I think like when he has to make plays and open his hips and like move, he can be a little slow to change direction. I don't think his top speed is crazy, and he ran a 4.66 at the combine. So I think I kind of got justified there. And when your change of direction isn't quite as good, I think like, yes, he's very smart. He used to play safety, but like, is he really like like a tight end eraser? I kind of think like, I think he's kind of fine at everything. Like he's billed as a jack of all trades. Like, oh, he can rush the passer. Oh, he can play true linebacker and he's good in coverage. Like, and I don't disagree, but I think he's more like, yeah, you can rush him off the edge, but it's not like he's not Micah, he's not Micah Parsons. Right. He's like fine at it. He's not going to be this like above average edge rusher. And like, yeah, you feel good with him in coverage, but he's not going to be, I don't quite think he's like maybe Eric Kendricks or Fred Warner there. So it's like, I think he's more fine at everything. And some people think he's like quite good at everything. And so that's how I feel about him. But, I've swung and missed big before, so what do I know? But yeah, I can see the vision with him. I just think he's just a little bit below where people, or actually think he's kind of a lot of bit below if to hear these college coaches talk about him. But anyway.
Fair enough. This puts us back to Matthew with the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've been struggling with receiver for a long time. I'd take Jamison Williams here. I like it because you're putting Hurts in a good position. Don't mess around with like, well, was his receivers good enough? You have a nice receiver room, and that means that you really get to see how good Hurts is, and you get to see, if you need to pick a quarterback next year, you're geared up for it. You already have the receivers in place. Williams is sick, takes the top off the defense, does a lot of good stuff, and it gives you a really nice young receiving core. So that's what I would do.
Williams is going to be wide receiver 1 off the board. I would bet my life on it. Kill me in Vegas. We'll be in Vegas for the draft. If another wide receiver's name gets called before Williams, just turn around and shoot me in the head. That's he's going to be wide receiver 1.
I know he's been plugged.
Yes,
to be basically
NFL teams. Love that guy. They love him from all accounts. They think and if Ruggs went 12th overall, he's going above 12th overall because he's like Ruggs on steroids to me.
He's better than Ruggs, but he's not quite as good as Waddle.
That's where I'm at too. I think he's better than Ruggs and Waddle went 6th, 5th, and Ruggs went 12th. So I think he's going to go in the top 10. Yeah. So that's just how I feel about it. But
reasonable. Goes 8. To Atlanta.
He's also like, I don't think they're going to care about his ACL. I think like people talk about being ahead of
point where it's like
he's like moving like really, really well. And even right after he tore his ACL, he was like running around on the sidelines of Alabama. Like, I think his ACL injury is not necessarily one that is going to be super detrimental. And you'll see it's like Saquon's never been the same post ACL, but we have seen guys recover from ACLs and be just fine. Yeah. So I think that he's going to go really, really high.
Didn't Peterson win MVP?
AP, yeah, he did. So
yeah,
I like this. This would be a good pick for the Eagles. You got Devontae.
Yeah, I think this is also another really easy one, honestly.
Yeah. I think you're not wrong. Me with the Saints, right?
Again, Theo. New Orleans Saints.
I'm taking Treylon Burks, the wide receiver out of Arkansas.
That's my guy.
I think that he's nice, and I think that he's getting slept on a little bit post combine.
He's got that boy nice syndrome.
That boy is nice. I think like with Thomas coming back, you pair him with Burks. That's a lot of size. Those are two huge wide receivers. One is real technically refined, and if you need that first down, you can go rely on Thomas to go get it. But at the same time, you've also got Burks, who is great after the catch. I think he honestly is a little bit like an AJ Brown or a Deebo Samuel or someone like that. He's great after the catch, really strong, runs through people. His GPS speed was like ridiculously high. I think he hit like 22 miles an hour at one point. So he obviously, with pads on, he's fast, man. Like his game speed is fast. He's got great hands, huge hands. Arkansas just kind of played him wherever. They treated him like the best player on a high school team, where they would just like put him in the slot, put him in the backfield, make it as easy as possible to get the ball to him as fast as possible. And he really rewarded them. I like him. And I think the Saints need another wide receiver. And yeah. I think that this would be a good pick for them here.
All right. Does that bring me to the Chargers?
I believe it does.
All right. Well, I think we've kind of leveled on the idea that, they need... I don't know. The Chargers, I feel like, could use a receiver. Right? I feel like they just paid Mike Williams, right?
It'd be a lot of investment at receiver.
I would not. I think it would be a big mistake for them to pick a wide receiver here. I really do.
I am not going to take a receiver, but I thought about it. I
think they're thinking about it too. I think that
it's always fun to be like, you could say that for almost any team. Like, but what if they had another really good receiver?
Yeah, and especially analytics driven team like the Chargers.
Olave's here. I'm like.
Right. If there was something really
that's enticing.
If Jameson was here, they would take Jameson, but he's not going to be here because he's going in the top 10.
Yeah, it's like, well, even Olave, like they don't have a deep speed threat, right?
No,
like Mike Williams is a good deep threat, but he's not fast the way that Williams and Olave are, and Keenan's certainly not fast like that. So, but I'm not going to take receiver. I feel like the next, and they don't need a corner. They just got J.C. Jackson. It's like, what the fuck do the Chargers need? So whenever you're in that position, my gut tells me, okay, let's just go offensive line, and I think Raymond is probably the guy I'd roll with here. I don't know.
He's interesting.
The Chargers are. It's not Trevor Penning.
It could be.
It could be, but it shouldn't be. Damn.
That's what makes this pick tough is because Penning is probably like the shoe-in pick here. Like if you were just doing like what's chalk, probably Penning at the moment.
Well, but here's the other thing is like I don't know if like a lot of mocks I've seen Jordan Davis is here.
Yeah,
right? But the Chargers trade up for Jordan Davis.
Stay Hot's too pro Jordan Davis to let him fall to 17, I'm afraid.
The other option would be, Trent McDuffie's here. You have J.C. Jackson, but shit, why not add another corner?
Yeah, you need multiple. Yeah. That's honestly what I would do here, but it wouldn't be McDuffie. I would go corner if I were you.
Oh, you would go Alam.
I would go Alam or Booth. Yeah,
I would think about Booth.
I would also think about linebacker, and I know they hate linebacker. They just got rid of like their two best linebackers last year.
That is like,
and they hate linebacker, but I kind of think that could come back to bite them. I really do.
It could. We talked. Their run defense was bad. They did add who's the defensive lineman?
They added Joseph Day. They added Sebastian Joseph Day. They also added Troy Reader.
Like maybe
get excited, Chargers fans! You got Troy Reader.
Well, and so it's like, okay, you've patched up maybe the interior defensive line, but if you don't have any linebackers, is your run defense really going to be significantly better? I don't know. So yeah, I mean, Leo Chenal wouldn't be bad, but he's probably going to be a second round guy.
Dean
wouldn't be bad.
I've seen here.
Was it you that told me that Dean's been getting like pushed to the second round for a lot?
Dean's not going first round.
That's so tough, man.
In my opinion,
that's tough.
Injuries, undersized linebacker who's been injured throughout this pre-draft process. I know that teams seem like, I know Bob McGinn, who's pretty plugged in, published an article where they were like, I think he's like a sub package guy, so. Yeah. It just really feels to me like he is not going to end up being a first round pick and being one of those guys that fans are really high on, but teams maybe are not, which I feel is a mistake. I really like Dean, but it really just kind of seems like he's trending down. As much as we love him here on Stay High, I love Dean. He should go high, Dean. But I just don't think he will if I'm projecting the
all right, I've narrowed my mind down to either Elam or McDuffie. And the reason I want McDuffie is because I feel like that zone corner might be a little bit more valuable than a man corner here. But man, Elam is just so good. And his hips are like, you talk about what's his I can't even think of his name. Stingley. Yeah, like fluid hips. I think Elam is just like a slightly less patient Stingley. It was just fluid hips, great recovery speed, but man, he loses at the line sometimes, and that screws him over. Like that hurt him against Jameson Williams. But man, he would be a great asset. I'm talking myself into it in real time. We're taking Khair Elam.
Yeah.
Glad to get that off my chest.
Yeah, I think he'd be a good pick here. I think like Michael Davis is not totally it. Asante Samuel Jr. is cool, but he's really small, and I don't know if you want him and. Like if it's him and McDuffie on the field at the same time, that's just not.
That's the other thing. I was like, McDuffie's kind of not.
McDuffie's pretty small. So yeah, I think Elam is solid here. I would honestly consider Zion Johnson and guard here as well. They could use a guard.
That's true. Their offensive line wasn't.
And I think perfect. Kenyon Green can play a little bit of tackle if you really need him to. So those are some other guys I would consider. And guys, their
offensive line was greatly improved from like 2 years ago, but I wasn't really thinking of that as like a huge need, but I was thinking like, okay, maybe Raymond.
I think Zion's going to go really high.
I think so too.
I think he's going to go really high for a guard. I mean,
I've seen a lot of.
I'm mocking him to the Baltimore Ravens. That's
I don't think that's unreasonable.
I think they're going
really high on him.
I think so too, and I think the Ravens want to go. I know the Ravens want to go offensive line because their GM said it. He said, I'm looking at the offensive line class. I think I would like an offensive lineman from it.
It makes me feel like he might like the Panthers, take an offensive lineman.
Takes me.
It's just like the Panthers.
It's either a smoke screen or maybe he's just saying, we need an offensive lineman.
I like the idea of a general manager who will just like say what they're. Yeah, I think we're going to go offensive line.
It's happened before. People think it never happens, but like it's happened before. Like the Panthers, they said, we think that the top guys in the class are the tackles. That's what the Panthers said. So they're probably going to take one of the tackles if they fall to 6, which they probably will. But I digress. Am I on the clock? Who's next on the clock?
I'm on the clock with the Eagles.
Okay.
You were killing me there, Theo. Almost talking him into taking a Kobe Dean, man. Blaiden, if you had done that to me,
bro, I was literally thinking. I know. I literally thought about. I was like, bro, like
I had no backup plan. Actually, I would have.
Matt's not gonna have a pick here if I take Nakobe Dean. Like that was literally my mindset.
So I'm going to go Nakobe Dean. Eagles have a really big need at linebacker, and I've looked a little bit, and it seems like the fan base is a little frustrated about not getting they haven't spent high picks on linebackers, from what I've seen at least. I think reasonably so. Dean here, again, if the NFL isn't high on Dean, then I disagree with the NFL because I really like him. And I get the undersized stuff, but if I really feel like if you were undersized and like physicality was going to be a problem, I don't think you'd look good in the NFL or in the SEC. So
yeah.
I guess I understand that, but with Dean, he was, the quarterback in one of the best defenses. We've talked about him a lot. I feel pretty happy with this pick. I also could have gone Karlaftis. That probably would have been my other option.
I love Karlaftis so much, and it just hasn't been the pick for me. So if any of you guys, the Packers are picking in a couple, so just don't take them for the next couple picks here, guys, please.
I don't think I planned on taking Karlaftis.
Good. He sucks. You should let the fall to the Packers. The Saints are up again. I'm going to take Zion Johnson here. That's where I'm going with him. Yeah, guard. He is good at guard. We talked to Isaiah Thomas, who was at the Senior Bowl, and we asked him who the best lineman he faced there was, and he went up against Trevor Penning quite a bit. I was kind of leading him towards the Trevor Penning answer, because I know that he was a victim of one of Trevor Penning's famous throw him down and be mean to him reps. He was the one that he threw into Ritter. He's the one who he threw into Ritter. It was Isaiah Thomas. And I wish I knew that when we interviewed him, because I would have asked him about that. But he said Zion Johnson. He said Zion Johnson.
I've heard literally nothing but great things about Zion Johnson. The entire draft process.
He's athletic. He's solid. I remember also at the Senior Bowl that he was like getting a bunch of reps in, just snapping the football, and like was staying way after everybody else left, and was just like doing all that.
Yeah, I saw that.
He just seems like the epitome of like a solid guard for me. And I like Kenyon Green as well. So maybe I would just do a heel turn. I have them similarly graded, honestly. But in a world where I don't think Cesar Ruiz is any good, all right, so they could use a left tackle, truly. Maybe it's Green, though, because Green's got a little bit more versatility where he can play left tackle a little bit. I saw him do that. I would
prefer if you didn't turn around and...
Screw it. I'm actually going to go... We just talked about how Zion Johnson's going to go high, and that made my mind go to Zion Johnson. But I actually am going to pick Kenyon Green just because I'm like...
I already plugged it into the PFF mock draft simulator, man.
Sorry. Well, I'm changing my mind, and I'm going Kenyon Green because I think he can...
Well, but this is going to work out fine. This is going to work out fine either way.
You guys already have him off the board, and you can't undo it. PFF needs to add that. PFF, let us go back and redo picks without having to start over the entire mock. There's been a bunch of times where I've like gone through a PFF like mock draft simulator. I'm like, oops, I accidentally let Jermaine Johnson fall to pick 33, and I can't just like go back and edit it. I have to do the whole draft over again.
Yeah.
Oops.
All right.
I'm taking Kenyon Green.
I have the Steelers.
He's solid. He's
round out the top 20. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one hurts my soul
easy
to have to pick. Is it easy?
I think it's easy if it's what you think they would do.
I think they're
right.
What would you do, Matt? Malik Willis?
I think this is a good spot for him. I think it's worth taking the shot on. At 20? I'd do that.
I'm gonna disagree. There's two things I would do here.
Oh, well, we know what quarterback. We know what quarterback you would take.
Hold on. And I'm gonna justify it too. I'm going to justify it well. All right.
Honestly,
the first thing I would do is I would consider, you took Kenyon Green, so I would consider Zion Johnson, because their offensive line is a joke. Right? The Pittsburgh offensive line is no good right now. But what was the one saving grace for... Right, their offensive line was terrible, one of the worst in the league. But Ben Roethlisberger wasn't the most sacked quarterback in the NFL last year, despite being totally immobile. Why? Because he has one of the fastest releases in the NFL. Who gets the ball out quickly in this year's draft class? Matt Corral. And that's why I think that would be the other option there, because I think he fills the void of, he's a mobile guy, which... what's his fate? Steelers coach. I'm totally blanking.
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin has said that he wants a mobile quarterback. Right?
Yes.
So Matt Corral fits that need, and he gets the ball out quickly in a similar way that Ben Roethlisberger does. Even if it's like, it's RPO, but like even like just the quickness of his release is really fascinating. So I think he would be I think a good fit for this Pittsburgh Steelers team, especially considering Mitch Trubisky does not do that.
Honestly, I might have Corral above Willis.
I really don't think it's a bad take.
I don't think it's crazy to say it, and as much as it is, and like Willis to me, go watch Louisiana Lafayette. Go watch the game against Louisiana Lafayette. He, I swear to God, looks like an undraftable player in that game. Just horrible decisions. Just horrible.
Was that the game you were watching?
Yeah, I was watching him at the airport. First play of the game, just misses play that he should be looking at over the middle, but he doesn't love throwing it over the middle. Just a wide open touchdown. Like, I could have thrown this touchdown for 70 yards. Like, it was immediately wide open. Didn't see it. Running around, throwing things right to the defense. His sack rate is egregiously high. And even I know Liberty's offensive line is no good. It's like, yeah, but they're not playing, these great defensive lines either.
They're not playing Alabama.
No, I get it. I get the Willis, Ritter is my QB1 just because I think he's athletic and he's pretty smart. I get if Willis is the guy you take a shot on after that, because it's like, well, everyone is pretty dumb and a system ran a very weird system after that and isn't pro ready and has bad pocket bread. Everyone's got kind of issues. So it's like, you might as well take the most talented guy after that. But Corral is also pretty damn talented. He's pretty fast and he's got a big arm as well. And he's got maybe even better mechanics. So I don't hate if you're Corral. I don't even like Corral, but I don't like anyone except for Ritter, which might be dumb because if Ritter ends up not being the best quarterback in this class, it'll be like, oh, but I don't know. I don't think you're crazy for this, Blaiden, even though it would never.
Corral fits.
I think Corral also. I agree. I think it's Corral also has the upside. He didn't work out in the pre-draft process. We haven't seen anything about him for a while, and I think recency bias, because what has Willis done? He didn't run at he just threw on air. He completed some passes on air at his pro day.
That's the same shit Zach Wilson did,
right? And we'll see. A guy who the other thing is Willis closed the season really strong in his bowl game. I remember watching that because he played poorly for a decent amount of 2021, but then he closed the season so well in his bowl game and did a good job in the pre-draft process. So I don't think that this is a crazy take to have Corral over Willis as much as no one is talking about.
Corral's my QB1. Yeah. So
talk to Chris Sims.
Ritter's my QB2, but Corral's my QB1, and that's who I feel like if he falls here to Pittsburgh and they don't take him,
I like it.
I would. Yeah, I'm taking Matt Corral.
All right. Well,
even though it pains me, and he's gonna destroy the Cleveland Browns for years to come. But
all right.
We got some packages recently.
Am I reading this ad or are you reading this ad?
Do you want to read the ad?
I was gonna read the ad. I never read an ad.
You read the ad, Theo. Let's
I read the ad just because. All right, we're the latest. If you listen to a podcast hosted by men, you probably know that they're sponsored by Manscaped. And we're a podcast hosted by men, and we are now sponsored by Manscaped. The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents, thanks to their advanced skincare technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 400K LED spotlight if you need a more precise shave. And because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor. You thought that was all good, but want to take your grooming game to even further. You thought that was good, but want to take your grooming game to even further to the next level? The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. You don't want to look like an 80-year-old out there, you know? And the Weed Whacker is again also waterproof and provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose holes. Their Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. Trust me when I say this, fellas. Your balls will thank you. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts in there to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shred Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level. So it's time to take care of yourself. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code Stay Hot, all caps, one word. So, yes, it's a good deal. They sent us some as a gift to Stay Hot, so we can personally endorse it. And I would say it's something everybody does. And if you're going to do it, you might as well do it easily and quickly and well and comfortably. And I would buy it immediately. I just read that whole ad read, and you're just going to sit there and not buy it. That was a long ad. That was a long one.
That was like relieving. I might have you do that more often.
Yeah. So yeah, buy it immediately.
I agree.
It has our it has our legitimate endorsement, and also I'm out of breath, and if I read that just for it to get 0 sales, I hate it. I hate you, the listener.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I use it.
I hate you. You have wronged me personally.
Personally.
As well as the great company of Manscaped.
Right. Well, Matt, you're here at 21 with the Patriots.
Dog. You know what I got to do.
So fucking close. So fucking close. My Tommy Shelby impression.
I don't really have a super strong opinion about what the Patriots should do, but anytime it's like, this is good value here at 21, and you have Belichick says like, oh, he's going to be able to do something cool, and always adding more defenders, and you can always use another edge rusher. I'm high on Karlaftis. So I'm taking him here at 21 for the Patriots, unfortunately.
You were so close,
I was so close, man.
You were so close.
I was so close.
But they did lose. They did lose some pretty key defensive piece. Chase Winovich, I think, is a big loss for them. I know a lot of Browns fans are like, oh, Chase Winovich, not that good. I like Chase Winovich. I think he's a good player.
A good player with 0 sacks and tackles for loss last year.
Man, it's not always about the number.
It's not always about the number. 0.
Maybe the real sacks are the friends we made along the way.
Sometimes it's about your ability to redirect and set the edge.
He's tiny. He can't do that. He's small. He's a pure pass rusher.
This is some, even for you, Blaine, this is some crazy Browns propaganda, man.
Man, you know I'm always pushing my Browns.
Set the edge, and then he's talking about Chase Winovich. How tall is he?
I'm trying to listen, man. The Browns don't have anyone on their defensive line outside of Myles Garrett.
What is the game plan there? I don't mean to go to.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm so scared. Like our run defense might be the worst in the league next year.
Yeah, he weighs 249 pounds, but still that's sub 250. That's small. Anyway,
1 pound sub 250, man. He's gonna be the best run defender for the Browns. I'm so excited.
The Browns defense really could sell them next year, man. I'm legit concerned about their linebackers,
so am I.
And they need Denzel Ward to stay healthy. They need Greg Newsome to be I love Greg Newsome. But yeah, I'm concerned their defense could totally sell, and they could be like the Chargers.
JOK is a good linebacker. Anthony Walker's back on the team, and he sucks. Our defensive line is totally gone.
I'm concerned they could be the Chargers of this year.
Yeah, it's like there's more to the team than the quarterback, man. That defensive line. I mean, like if you told me they didn't even have other defensive linemen right now, I'd believe you. I remember.
Why are we talking about the Browns?
Do not.
Bladen's done it again.
I don't know. Chase Winovich.
Why were we talking about Chase Winovich?
Because I picked for the Patriots, and they made that trade to the Browns.
Oh, okay. I had to get my wires.
People are really high on the edge class this year, rightfully so. Good value pick. Karlaftis. Good player.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, Theo, on the bright side, you get Chris Olave.
Yeah, and there's a couple guys I would like for the Packers here. Olave is being one, and the wide receiver is such a need. That's probably who I'll take. But also like Zion Johnson, a guard. They could really use more in the offensive line room. Leo Chanel to go alongside Devondre Campbell I would be okay with, although the coverage starts to get maybe slightly dicey with both of them on the field at the same time. I think like a defensive tackle like Wyatt to go across from Kenny Clark, like 3 tech, 1 tech. Like if they don't take a wide receiver here, like there's a world where I'm not even mad at that. Or so I am going to go with Olave with all that being said. But it's not like he is for me the only person in consideration for me here. So yeah, Chris Olave is my pick, though. I do like how smooth of a route runner that he is. Great tracking the football into his hands. One of the best I've seen at doing that. It's making some acrobatic over-the-shoulder catches. Again, reminds me a little bit of Tyler Lockett in that way, where he's got the 4.3 speed and can track the ball over his shoulder. And he's got pretty good hands. He's not like this absolutely spectacular, like Garrett Wilson will moss you time and time again type of player, but he's someone who can make a difficult catch over somebody if on occasion. Smooth route runner, great at tracking the football. I think that he'll be a really solid player, and about as good as it gets here in the middle of the first round. A really safe pick in my opinion, and something the Packers desperately need. So Chris Olave is my pick here. Yes.
As it should be. This brings me to the Arizona Cardinals. And I have a lot of options. Linderbaum has fallen this far, and they could use a center. Andrew Booth is here.
Yes.
And they could use a corner. And Andrew Booth, incredibly athletic. So, and when you're trying to make an upgraded corner, I feel like that's a safe way to go. So those are the two guys I'm kind of leaning between. And it's just a question of which one do I think is a more valuable asset right away. I'm going Andrew Booth.
Pretty good pick in my opinion.
Yeah. Linderbaum is gonna be good, I think. It's a need, but God, so is corner. And I feel like if your corners suck, like you're just. You can maybe hide a center that sucks, I feel like, but you cannot hide corners that suck. So we're going Andrew Booth.
I think that's solid. I think that's a good pick. I agree, Blaiden, that Booth could be the move there at this point. Yeah.
I'm sitting here with the Cowboys. Zion Johnson is not on the board, or he is?
Yes, he is. He is on the board, and you should take him.
He is on the board.
Him and Wyatt. Wyatt is a tough one. I'll go. I think Wyatt may be gone by this point. It's a little easy because there's so many guys on that Georgia defense, and maybe Jordan Davis gets more of the hype. But like Wyatt is a crazy explosive athlete too. Yeah. But yeah, I'll go Zion Johnson here. I think ever since. I mean, if you want to talk, this is really the best offensive lineman performance at the Senior Bowl. I've heard nothing good things about him from, what I've seen and read. And the Cowboys, I feel like for the first time in a long time, offensive line doesn't feel like quite the strength it has been.
Absolutely not, especially after losing Connor Williams.
Right.
Yeah, they need a guard. Yeah. They need one
badly. They badly need a guard. This is good value with a player who, rightfully so, has had his draft stock move up a ton. So it's pretty easy. I'll go Zion Johnson.
I think that Devontae Wyatt also, I think there's a path to him falling to the second round in that he is 24 years old and he's been arrested. Those are so there's some off the field concerns. He's a little bit of an older prospect, whereas, like I said about Zion Johnson was the guy staying way past when everybody else left at the I keep forgetting the name of the event, the Senior Bowl. So I'm just saying, Wyatt is good, but there is, you say, I think he'll be gone by by this point.
I didn't. I don't know. I had no clue he was 24.
Yes. Yeah. No. I know. But that's something I've learned recently. But yes, that
puts you back on the clock with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, you're back on the clock, Theo. And you could take Devontae Wyatt here.
I'm taking Kenneth Walker. Oh. I'm taking the running back. Yeah. Guess what? This is. Yeah,
I agree. I would have taken him for the Buccaneers if I had been given the chance.
Let's hear it, man. Look. Kenneth Walker is electric, man. Josh Allen, he rules, sadly, and I think it would be fun. Yeah, I don't know. I legitimately think like running back is not the most important position. I would agree with that. Still, I'm not as staunchly against taking them as I was in the past, though. And when you've got someone like Walker, or you look at someone like, this is a stupid, maybe an example people would never think of, but you look at Rashad Penny in Seattle, who I think is actually really good and has great vision. He is averaging like 5.9 yards per carry in his career, something ridiculous like that, behind a Seahawks offensive line that is not good. And it is his vision and his like size and his speed that, like, when I watched him specifically this year, and just in the, like, again, you look at, he's averaging like the highest yards per carry you could ever see a running back, like, average behind that offensive line. It's like, man, this running back is creating yards. You know, this running back is getting tackled or is making guys miss or finding creases that other guys would get tackled for a loss, like on the same play.
Right.
Kenneth Walker's got amazing vision. Breece Hall does as well. He's got home run speed. You see him pull away from the corners chasing him. I think he was a Heisman candidate, wasn't he?
Yes. He is just crazy good.
His hips are like, his evasiveness and the way he changes direction without losing speed is phenomenal. He's got the home run speed. He's got the vision. He's got the contact balance. It's tough to bring him down. He's my favorite running back in the class. And he is someone that I think could really make that offense even more dangerous in a class where it's like, yes, they need a corner. Yes. But like, their defense was good last year, and they just added Vaughn, and they can kind of have a luxury pick here.
I get it, but it's like, you look at how Walker is legitimately like add another level to their offense. It would be such a big upgrade. And for them.
People think like, oh, this is what the Chiefs thought before adding Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Kenneth Walker
better. Sadly, he's my 11th ranked prospect in this class. He's ridiculously high on my board.
Yeah, I mean the one thing I think the Bills would like to be able to do is probably add a little bit of a change of pace.
Right.
They did live and die on big plays, and they lived on it. Right. I mean, for most, they got him to, they got him to the playoffs, and they went toe to toe with the Chiefs. And I think being able to control the clock a little bit better, I think that's one thing that helped the Bengals.
Walker's got that dog in him.
I mean, in my opinion, Josh Allen, Kenneth Walker, read option. But that's just me. I don't know. I think,
in my opinion,
Josh Allen shouldn't be for like the number one rushing option for your team almost. And
right. Yeah. It's bad for Allen too. It's like, if you don't trust your running backs to, like, Devin Singletary is not fast, like, he's slow.
Zach Moss.
It's not a good idea for the Bills to even hand it off right now, because their running backs just aren't that, and Kenneth Walker is that. So I don't know. I think it would be a fun pick.
If you just think about the Madden aspect of this, man, I'm picking the Bills every time if they pull this one off.
Yeah, and if Booth was here, I like Booth a lot. I like McDuffie a decent amount, but like, I don't know. I'm just taking the running back here. Analytics be damned. Sadly, I think it would be fun.
All right. Well, this is an interesting pick for me. And I feel like it should be easy. I feel like this pick should be easy, but I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. I feel like the easy thing is to just take Devontae Wyatt for the Tennessee Titans.
To go alongside Jeffrey Simmons could be scary.
Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah. I think it would be a really dangerous, their defense was shockingly good last year. And I think making it actually good,
not so top heavy, and adding some more defensive pieces is
let's just get let's just get loaded. I don't know. I feel like that's
take best player available. There's a world where I think Wyatt, if he could be your best player, I think they're in a position to take best player available.
Matt, I think didn't you just like talk about like how best player available?
I don't think it's always the right choice, but I think people do get a little bit too caught up in their needs because you'll never look back and be like, oh, this was my biggest need, unless it's like something really, really insane, like Packers 2020, for example. But I think once you get into this range, it's like these are a lot of contending teams. You kind of do got like, it's maybe not need based, but there's some teams that can't draft and actually like realistically play another position. You know, it's like,
yeah, I don't know though. I'm looking at it now. Jeez, Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry is good. So I think you'd have to have.
Well, okay, it's not. It's more that it's their like they don't really have a nose tackle. And I guess, yeah.
Jordan Davis
Wyatt doesn't really fill that void. Yeah. Davis really would be the nose tackle, but like I don't know. I feel like you could move guys.
I mean, he can play like 0 or 1 tech, but I wouldn't have him live in that world.
I don't know.
I think they take the best player available. That's it. If you think that's Wyatt, I think like the Titans are in a chance. They could really use a offensive lineman. So this is like Penning territory. This is again a Penning territory pick.
Do you think Penning's better than Raymond?
No, I don't. I don't like Penning. But yeah, I don't know if you watch Penning, so you know, I don't know if you like Penning. You could.
I don't like Penning. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like, okay, Linderbaum's also here.
Yeah.
And that might
he can only play center.
That might be the guy.
And their center is Ben Jones, who's not horrible, but he could be the best player available.
And
it's a tough pick here for the Titans. Really, I always struggle with it.
It's a tough pick. I keep getting like I feel like I keep getting like hard picks with like the Chargers and the Titans. I don't know. I feel like
I can tell you who I mocked to them. I mocked
Devontae Wyatt. To me makes a lot of sense. Linderbaum makes some sense. I could get really because they did trade or they got a receiver.
Yes, there you go. Now you're on the right track. They got
but they got a receiver already. They got Robert Woods so it's like, do they need another one? And this is where I'm like, this is okay. Here's where
your wide receiver 3 is on the board, Blaiden.
Listen, okay. I know that George Pickens is here, right? But I'm like, they already have kind of that guy, right? And I don't know if you want
Pickens might be too good, and then
Pickens might be too good. Your wide receiver 3, you picked. Who is he behind? He's behind London, who you picked at 11. Who is their wide receiver 3? They're like 11 personnel is not a rare thing you find.
Their next receiver is
Pickens. You had
Nick West.
You had Wilson, who you picked at 8. You picked this guy at 11, and now it's Pickens time
at 26.
And at 26, he's your wide receiver 3. I'm telling you to pick. I'm making you pick Pickens.
You're right. I shouldn't overthink this. Let's just take my guy, George Pickens. Welcome to the Tennessee Titans.
There you go. I actually mocked them Tyler Smith though, but. You know, what can I say?
I thought about Sky Moore. That's where my mind was going.
You just forgot Pickens wasn't.
Of like,
it was there. If you
well, no, I didn't want to take Pickens because I was like, oh, well, they already have AJ Brown. They don't need another guy that can just like go up and get you shit.
You think that's all Pickens can do? And he's your wide receiver 3?
But I'm just like,
I don't know, man.
No, Pickens.
I'm giving you shit.
You are giving me shit.
Did we pick Devontae Wyatt yet?
No, we keep almost picking him.
Let's actually pick him. I have the Buccaneers next.
All right.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to pick him for the Chiefs.
This is not a crazy pick. The Buccaneers are a weird team. There's a lot of positions they're kind of barred from taking just because they're pretty stacked. But you know. Is Sue off the team now, or is he just older and getting up there? You've got, I can't remember which it is.
I believe that he is still on the team. Oh no, he is a free agent. My bad, my fault.
Yeah. So with Sue going, I think a big part of what made them so strong is that they had two really great guys inside. When you have someone like that taking up multiple blockers, you want to be able to make sure you're winning those one-on-ones that you're getting off of that. And I think why it's really explosive is just you keep that advantage of how can I possibly deal with both of these guys. That's what you're making teams figure out against you. So it's good value, big need, easy pick.
Yep, I'd agree. And that puts me back on the clock with the Packers, doesn't it?
It does.
Man, I love Leo Chanel. I really do. And I think that I honestly don't think that Devondre Campbell is the worst comp in the world for him. So that's my one hang up for the team is do you really need you've got this opportunity. Do you really need an off-ball linebacker who is somewhat similar to the one that you've already got? That would be best player available for me. Other than that, there's Ebiketie, who I love, who's an edge rusher. There's Trent McDuffie as a corner. We don't really, the Packers don't really take undersized edges. They like Preston Smith, gigantic player. Rashawn Gary, gigantic player. Zadarius Smith, gigantic player. Jermaine Johnson is still on the board. He's a gigantic player, and he fits kind of more of what they would want. I don't like him as much as Leo Chanel, but he might fit kind of a bigger need with Zadarius Smith out the door, although Zadarius Smith didn't play last year.
Do you want to know what I would do?
What would you do?
I would take Linderbaum.
The center, we just picked Josh Myers, and Josh Myers was okay his rookie season, and Linderbaum, again, I think he's strictly a center. So
I don't know. I think the interior of our offensive lines.
Yeah, I guess you could maybe kick Josh Myers out to guard. I'm unsure.
Who's your other guard?
It's rough, man. It's rough. And Tyler Smith is on my radar, even though I have a second round grade on him. But I do think the interior of the offensive line definitely needs to be substantially better, especially the Packers, who have done a really, really nice job at coaching guys up and developing talent on that offensive line. I mean, they didn't have Bakhtiari this year, and Elton Jenkins was out for a large portion of it. And you wouldn't hear oh my God, Rodgers was just playing in front of this horrible, line. But right tackle right now, we've got Cole Van Lanen, and we've got Royce Newman as projected starters, and Josh Nijman. And sorry if I botched your name.
Yeah,
but if a tackle is who I'd love to take. You feel here, I just don't know. I don't want.
If Penning. You feel if you feel like your coaching staff does a good job of coaching up offensive linemen, and Tyler Linderbaum, I feel might be the most barring maybe Evan Neal, might be the best athlete of these offensive linemen.
But he can't. He's not a guard, man. He's just not. He doesn't have the body type. He doesn't have the type of game that's a guard. You need to be a little bit bigger.
Maybe not. I don't know.
It's Kelsey is never. He's like Jason Kelsey. That's the ceiling with him. Is Jason Kelsey.
Okay.
You've never seen Jason Kelsey play guard as athletic and as good as he is. So I don't know. It's tough. Penning, I just really hate Penning. I really think his feet are bad, his hands are bad, and he's got this attitude that I don't like, and he's dirty, and he's just not a first round player to me at all. So Penning is if they picked him here, I could see it if this is the way the board fell. I'm going to take best player available for me, and that's Leo Chanel. I think what he can do as a run defender. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to take Logan Hall, the 3 tech outside of Kenny Clark. I forgot about Logan Hall. I'm going to take Logan Hall. That's my pick here.
I almost clicked Leo.
No, you
Chanel,
almost did.
Man.
I forgot about Logan Hall, who I also like. But 3 tech
is this set in stone.
I do not like the offensive lineman Lowry at this point. It's I'm sick of Dean Lowry starting. He's been starting for years and years. He's never really made a leap into a really good player. Logan Hall, huge, plays with pretty good leverage for the size that he is. Powerful. You've got Kenny Clark, who can line up at nose and is, for his size, surprisingly effective there. You got Logan Hall next to him at the 3 tech, and then you've got Preston Smith and Gary coming off the edge. To me, that's nice. I'm going to take Logan Hall here, as much as I like Chanel. An off-ball linebacker to me just doesn't quite. It's kind of win now mode for them. I don't know if Chanel is quite as impactful as like what I believe a really good year 3 tech could be. So that's what I'm taking. Logan Hall. Fair. I forgot about him.
All right. I'm on the board with the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs have to do at least one thing, and that's replace Tyreek Hill in some fashion. And, whether they do that with this pick or their next pick, I'm not entirely sure. The problem is that there's no one here to do that, I don't think. Sky Moore, kind of, but because he's just so quick, so elusive, can just make people miss. Jahan Dotson does not fit that role, but his catch radius for someone his size is, I'll just say, his catch radius is monstrous. Theo, you posted that clip of the play he made against Sean Wade.
Yes.
And it's like his route on that play is terrible, but somehow, and the ball's like way outside his frame, he's just like, that's mine anyway. Then there's John Mechie, who I kind of like. But I think John Mechie.
We're at an hour 30 minutes here.
Are you telling me to hurry up?
Yes. Don't consider John Mechie with the first round pick is what I'm saying. No offense. No offense. John Mechie, I took a long time with the Packers too. I am hypocritical right now.
I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs, they really don't have a lot of needs. It's just like, you lost maybe the best receiver in the NFL. You should probably fill that void. The other thing they could use is maybe a safety, but I don't think there's another safety that's really
there's
worth.
Two. Scene and Petrie. Yes, I do.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
You think you would? Okay. I don't know. I don't want to think too hard on this. I'm going to take. Because I wanted Devontae Wyatt here. That's really who I wanted. But I do like Sky Moore. I think that quickness could really change their offense a little bit. And I think I'm going to, or not change their offense, but at least partially fill a void. I'm going to take Sky Moore.
And then Matt, you pick the Chiefs right after, right?
Yes. I pick Chiefs right here at 30, and I'll go Scene. He lost a really good safety. I'm high on every single player at Georgia, apparently. So, great athlete, good versatility.
That gives me the Bengals, and finally I can replace that talentless quarterback they've got with Malik Willis. Malik Willis is someone who can really open up their offense with a deep ball, and he's got someone who could really drive it. No, of course not. I'm going to take Linderbaum here. I think that's where you put the center. You move Karras to guard, and then you've got Williams, Karras, Linderbaum. Who is the right guard they got from not Marpet, the other one. I literally made a video on them, but I mean, the guy from the Buccaneers, and then Lyle Collins, Kappa. Yes. So that's, to me, the offensive line. You're done. You did it. You've all 5 starters are somewhat, viable now. And I think, that's what I'm going with.
All right.
Tempting is Trent McDuffie.
The last pick in the first
Trent
round.
McDuffie, but
the last pick in the first round. I had the Lions with their first pick, and I gave them Kyle Hamilton. That filled a hole, and quarterbacks didn't go super heavy. So what does that leave you with the 32nd pick? It leaves you with a guy that a lot of people think will go top 10, and that's Malik Willis. I will take Malik Willis with the 32nd. And if you get Malik Willis as the Detroit Lions with 32nd pick, you can let him sit, which he does need to do. You can let him sit, and then, when you're ready, because they don't need to be good right now. That's why I keep seeing people mock Kenny Pickett to them at number 2, and I'm like, they don't need to do that. They don't need to make this big splash and be good right now. No one's on the hot seat. They're being patient, right? At some point, you do have to be good, yes, but just get good players. And if you get a quarterback to fall to you like this, if Matt Corral's here, if Malik Willis is here, if Desmond Ritter's here, those are my top 3 quarterbacks. Like that, at that point, that's where I think you make that move. So Malik Willis with the last pick in the first round,
excellent.
I think is incredible value. And that
after a long time, not as long as the actual draft will go, though. Also, I want to say that one more thing I'm going to talk real quick. The NFL draft is the same as March Madness tournament. People get mad at mock drafts whenever they say something crazy, and there are going to be people mad at this one. This is A, it's not a prediction, but B, even when I do a prediction, people are like, this will never happen. But like, if you predict like a 14 seed to beat a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, no one is like, well, that probably won't happen. Your bracket is crazy. Look at all these upsets and unexpected things that you have happening. Or why are you projecting all these unexpected things? Whereas like every year we know unexpected things happen. So like loosen up a little bit. Jesus Christ, you guys. So that's me being mad at mock draft haters and commenters. This one is not meant to be accurate. Obviously, Jermaine Johnson was not a first round pick. So that's a little bit not going to happen. Ebiketie.
I guess I could have.
You could have. I don't really think that Jermaine Johnson
I could have taken either of those
like really needed to go in the first, though. That's my hot take, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
We had a lot of receivers go in the first round, though. We did have a lot of receivers, and I think half of them were my pick. So, but that pretty much wraps things up for us. We have a surprise episode coming this week
with a really famous person. It's a really famous person that you know and you love.
That you know. Should we tell them what day it'll come out?
You'll find out. I don't even know if I know what day. Probably the 27th, but we could be wrong.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But yeah, surprise coming out for that. We're going to the draft, so there will be a lot of content about that.
I'm excited for that
as well. Yeah, we're going to be in Vegas.
We'll watch the Packers take Trevor Penning and Christian Watson. We'll watch Jameson Williams go as wide receiver 2, and I'll be killed dead.
Pretty much. That's guaranteed to happen. But as always, tons of content coming to as on all platforms, even more than recently. And yeah, as always, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, and Lemon Boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.